you get this prize, prestigious prize. What's your impression? Thank you.
Yes, well, the work was long and hard, but there were many people involved. And I think one of the things to remember is that you do the work largely for the work while you work. You enjoy the work. Most of us who are in the field are very committed to the work as work. It's especially rewarding if the work has some potential of being useful to mankind. But the work in itself is a great challenge and a great pleasure and a great joy and a great stimulus. And then in addition, it's even better when it has potential to be useful, and when it turns out to be useful, it is incredibly satisfying and wonderful. But that needs to be kept in perspective of work as work. And as for expecting it, there has been talk about the importance of the drug being such that it might be worth a Nobel Prize. I'm not talking to me, but I would hear people talk about that. But to me, it seemed like it would be an impossible thing, because you cannot give the Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine to a large group of people. And I could never think of it in any other way except as a large group of people. And so I certainly did not think that I would get it. I did not think of that at all. And I think that maybe answers the question.
我想这工作确实是很久了，因为70年的到现在不可思议了。那么这个发现的过程也是很不容易的，而且呢，它是一个全新的化物，它还有比较多的潜力。所以的话呢，完了的话，这个工作呢实际上没有完，还有新的发展的可能性。所以呢，这是一个，就是的确是我们做的是为人类的健康服务，这个事业也没完成，所以还在继续。
Try to remember all what she says, so I try to break her up a little bit. So, yes, it's true, it's been a long time. So, since the work started in 1960s, I was already about 40 years. It's a long time. It's a long time. And actually, the work is still not stopped, it's still continuing, because we need to find out how the medicine works, and we also need to find more application of this drug. So that's just the main message.
私がね、若い頃、ケーキを作る非常に興味あるとしている頃ですね、私の先輩が大村君、ストックホルムの道を開け指令されたんですけども、そのストックホルムは遠すぎてとても見えなかった。で、その見えるようになったのは、今回初めてこちらを訪ねた時に初めてストックホルムが見えたので、そういう意味でまさに私はノーベル賞というのは非常に遠いと思ってましたけども、ただいろんな場面で私は自分自身で研究に貢献できたなということは感じたことがあります。それがノーベル賞の一回に認められたかどうかということは全く思ってなかったんですけども、例えばアフリカへ行って非常に悲惨なその病気の様子を見てですね、これが撲滅できるということを知った時とか、いろいろあるわけです。例えば抗がん剤が開発されて今まで治らなかった例えば白血病もいろいろ治るようになった、そういう場面に出くわした時にですね、やはり私はいいことできたなとは思っています。しかしそれがノーベル賞につながるとはすぐにそれを思うことはできなかった。
I have been working quite a long time to discover new substances which can be good for a human being. And one day my supervisor said to me that you should go to Stockholm, aim to Stockholm. But at that time, Stockholm is very long away, and I couldn't see it. This is the first time when I came here, the first time I saw Stockholm. And in that way, I never expect that I got a Nobel Prize, but once in a while that I saw, for example, I came to Africa and see my drugs save a lot of people. And then I got a feeling that I'm doing something very good for human beings. So, but that doesn't mean that I can get the Nobel Prize.
We have a question in the front row first here. Yes, microphone coming.
Thank you. Do we also have questions to Nobel Foundation, or just questions to Nobel?
Well, you can ask me a question if you want to. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I have 3 questions. First is to Sri Lawrence.
Yes.
As you also mentioned, the resistance to the drug effect have already occurred in the pyramid of malaria. I just wonder, Mr. Campbell and Mr. Satoshi, what's your view of in the future the curement of malaria will be soon solved in very few years, or just a long way challenge, and you would like to devote your energy continuously on it? That's the first question. And the second question is to you too. I just want to wonder, during your this few days stay in Stockholm, what's your most impressive experience there? And the third question is to the organization. That people have this impression that you give this award prize mostly will have some preference on the fundamental theoretic studies rather than the experimental studies. Although here now this prize is a different way. But could you explain to us what's this major selection system to this prize awarding? And also in 1957, in that year's the physics awarding, at time also the Chinese scientist Li Zhendang and Yang Zhenlin, at that time has a great argument why there is no rewarding to the female Chinese scientist Wu Jianxiong. And people saying after 50 years, the secrets of how this or what the background stories or the reason could be made public now, so if you can. That's my question. Thank you.
We start with the laureates.
So your first question about the drug resistance, right? Yes. 现在是疟疾抗疟疾，就是那个抗疟疾研究开始出现，
这个问题其实我一直在呼吁，希望大家能够按照 WHO 的这个计划来进行，因为WHO 它这个领域青蒿素一旦产生耐药性以后，就很难。他们的说法就是再花10年拿出一个新药来，这是很不容易的。那么那时候可能就发展，所以我也为这个药的前景很担心，所以就也想希望所有关心疟疾的同志们能够共同努力来阻止这种发展的持续。那么，但是这个问题呢，而且我也希望大家按照WHO的要求来给药，但是现在事实上也并不是都是这样做，所以呢，我觉得的话，应该大家努力，因为这个事情确实是疟疾是一个很容易传染成灾的那个，环境一定都可以处理，特别非洲啊这些国家都是比较穷苦的地方，所以呢，我觉得这个问题应该引起更多的重视，把这个青蒿素这药能够它的耐药性，尽其可能的把它延缓它的抗病的发生。
Sure. So this is actually a WHO program trying to contain the drug resistance to penicillin. Drug resistance related, especially resistant to penicillin. According to WHO, it's really difficult to find another new compound. It will take probably another 10 years to find a new therapy. So it's also my concerns to see how we can delay or contain the resistance from happening. We should also urge that for all scientists working in the field, we should make sure we comply to WHO programs and work harder to avoid or delay resistance to penicillin, the resistant penicillin. Malaria is a difficult disease to control. It can be spread by mosquito bites, and some area like African countries is very difficult, very challenging problems. So she's very concerned about that, and she's urged that people or scientists all around the world comply to WHO protocols and make sure to receive from to delay the occurrence of the resistance.
Okay, I'll answer very briefly to your question. I'll be very brief to save time for questions to the laureate. So every year we start fresh looking for the best discoveries, and I think this really is a prize that is for global health, and really sort of the benefit for mankind aspect is very strong in this prize. But we don't go back and look, especially in other disciplines, on sort of archival material in that sense. We really look for the best science to award every year in the prize. So that's my short answer. So now we have a question there, back second row first, and then the first row.
Thank you. I'm from China National Television, China Central Television, and I will ask you the questions in Mandarin. Is that okay? The time for the Mandarin?
Okay, we back translated to English. Okay, so put a short question there.
Okay. Okay, the question is to Professor Chu. 楚教授，一个简短的问题，您对中国年轻一代的现在的科研工作者有什么寄语？
Can we translate the question first to English?
Yes. Okay. So really, what Professor Chu's expectation to the young generation of scientists in China? So how they can.
Yeah, any message to send it to them?
我希望这一次的奖是一个对中国，因为中国是第一次希望是一个新的激励机制，让年轻同志更努力的在不仅是医药领域，各个领域都能够有所发现、有所创新。那么在医院领域呢，就是说刚才谈到中国有很多传统的宝贵的东西，我们可以用现代科学把它更好的中西医结合，现代科学来研究，这样的话可以发现更多潜力，开发这个新药，为人类健康。
So this Nobel Prize is the first awarded to Chinese scientists. So should think this is a good encouragement and also a motivation to the scientists in China, especially young generation. We should work even harder, not in medicinal area, but also other areas. And in the medicinal area, we have a lot of experience, especially in traditional Chinese medicines. And there's a lot of potential for us to explore and to discover more, to have more discovery which will be beneficial to the human being.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a question on the first row? No? Otherwise, there's a question all the way up there on the back row here.
I have another question for Professor Chu. Do you
expect, after this prize, do you expect or do you think that the Western medicine, say so, should or will rely more on the traditional techniques, not only Chinese traditional medicine, but other traditional techniques? Thank you.
就说你认为就是除了传统中就是说你认为有些个药物治疗会不会更多的依赖一些传统的方法，不光是传统中医药的方法，而且是其他的传统方法，会不会更多的依赖这些方法
传统方法，传统中药是伟大的保护，一个基层发扬努力提高。所以我是这样想，因为我自己原来是学西医药的，我是北大，以后呢又学了西学中，这么就是说你有这样一个基础呢，还是会进步。怎么用现代科学和传统医药结合起来，能够有所基层发扬努力提高，在这方面多做一些工作。要是大家都能这么做，一定我想一定会对人们的健康会有更大的好处，为人类造福，人类造健康造福。
So all the traditional approaches has advantages, and especially in Chinese traditional medicines, a lot is a real question, and we should try to adopt and improve and further explore its application. From my background, I actually learned the Western medicines, but also have experience in learning traditional Chinese medicines. This will give me a very good foundation to understand how best to combine those approaches together. It is true that by applying more modern technologies, we can continue to explore those approaches taken traditionally to make more discovery and contribution to the healthcare of human beings.
Okay, thank you. I've been instructed now that I think we need to cut the press conference a bit short. I think we have to respect the hectic schedule for the laureates and also their age and just arriving in Stockholm. So I think we had a good 50-55 minute press conference with a lot of good questions. So I think we have to hold the end of the day here. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming and asking a lot of good questions. And I wish to thank our laureates for responding to the question. Thank you very much.